Hello, welcome back. This is Charlie. We are continuing to work on our Brocante Antiques album by Stamperia, and we're now working on this signature page, which is number 3. And this is what I've compiled here. I've got elements all over the place, so if you'll bear with me, I'm going to kind of unfold this so that I can get down to the bottom. Then I can start giving you some measurements. Okay, and then this one goes this way. See, I told you I had all kinds of stuff going on here. All right, our base page. I'm using this beautiful pink. It's got a very delicate floral background and a little bit of what look like wet splotches, and the reverse side is the green, which is just as pretty. This is going to measure at 9 1/4 inches across, and it's going to measure 8 3/4 in height. So this is our base. Now I am going to I'm losing some little tiny elements here. We're going to have a side pocket. I have already cut my pocket. I've placed my brown accent. I just need to add some tape to the back, and I can get this into the album. I'm going to work from the inside out so that it comes together, hopefully a bit easier than trying to work with multiple layers when we don't need them in the way. And again, I've been using a long die that I have. You can use a punch or your favorite die if you want, or not at all. But this is going to go right here, and then I went into the scraps and picked out this piece, which is the back side to our base. I don't need that yet. And then out of your chipboard pieces, we're going to play with this little one here. It says beautiful, nostalgia is joy. It's going to sit in just down here. From your cut-aparts, I'm going to play with this rose. It's going to come in right underneath here. And then we have a couple of die-cut rose buds that I'm going to play with. And then I fussy cut out one of the little pink floral that's going to tuck underneath there. And then we're going to add in here, and I've got to use some tweezers because it's a small piece. And then we're going to come in up underneath here. I need to pull this out. I'm trying to hold on to everything. It's going to fit in here. I had it all sorted out before I got it all messed, but this is somewhat the configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting things in place. And you can go ahead and get yours ready to go. I've enjoyed working with 2 different tones on this. I think it just gives a different level of warmth. And then we'll glue this. Oh, for Pete's sake, my tape's coming undone and it's sticking to everything. Okay, we're going to tape this in, or glue this in place. We don't have a lot of scraps on this build. I've had, in the past, I've had a lot left over. We'll make some photo mats out of what's left. Okay, now the challenge. To try and remember how I had this. So this is going to go in right about there. And then this chipboard piece. Come in right about here. I just wanted a tad bit off center, and you know what? I need to get up underneath here and wipe off some of that glue I put here on the end. All right, now these little guys. I want one because I want one on here, and because there's a height issue going on, I'm tucking one up underneath of it so that there is some level platform there. And then I'm gonna tuck this in here. And where do I want the leaves? I think I had the leaves here. Okay, so that was my configuration. All right, so I'm going to start gluing things in place. I want to glue this one in first. These little florals are so dainty to cut apart. This is going to come up underneath that leaf, tuck right in there. And then this one is going to come in right here. Okay, so there is that piece. Now you're going to have two cardstock pieces that I'm going to want you to cut. They are both going to measure at 5 3/4 inches across. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and you're going to score at 5/8 of an inch, and you're going to want two pieces. One for your left side and one for your right side. And when you've got those cut and ready to go, we're going to add them in. Now we're working with a 5/8 of an inch gusset. So we want to take our base paper right up to the 1/2 inch score line on both of these. I don't want the gusset to be on, I want it to be on top of the paper, so it's the only way I can describe it. I don't want my gusset, this being in the middle of my gusset. I want it right up at that 1/2 inch line. And then I'm going to push back on that gusset, the 5/8 gusset, and reinforce it so that it stands up. So I've got a nice level gusset there, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. Now, in the interior, I used this sheet. This is upside down. It goes this way. This, again, these are all out of the patterns. So I've used this white one with a little bit of a brown accent on the corner. And then in your cut aparts, you've got some postcards, small ones, and I've taken two, and I am going to create corner pockets with both of these. Just need to add some tape and some glue to this, and I can get them set in place. And then I want the tuck so that it's on the inside to help prevent things from falling out. So I'm going to take about an inch here for tape, and then I'm going to tape across the bottom here. So my 1 inch and then the length, and it's going to sit in here just so. And I'm just going to offset a little bit. I want the color out here to show. Okay, and now we're going to go to this side. And we're going to put this in place. And the same process, I'm going to put a 1/2 inch tape here, and then I'm going to tape across the bottom so that that creates our tuck. And it still leaves an ample room at the top to put in a photo or your own personal journaling. Just off center it just a tad bit, and then kind of as a demonstration so you can see that you've got a nice tuck, and as the pages fold you're not going to hopefully lose a bunch of stuff coming out of it, but again leaves you room for photo or some personal journaling. Okay, now we're going to turn these over, and this is the piece that I elected to put here. They are a very, I want to say, kind of a mechanical page in a way. They're the old sales books for. So what I've done is I've taken a couple of strips out of my stock, and I'm just going to lay some strips about a 1/2 inch off of each end here as just kind of a decorative to kind of break it up a little bit. You can choose to do that if you want or don't. You might even want to use this side. It actually gives kind of a better contrast, but I wanted to use this piece. So I'm going to put these down first. And like I said, I'm going to come in about a 1/2 inch or so, 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Off the edge, just so that it breaks up that pattern a little bit. And then when you put a photo across here, it will, I don't think that's on there very straight. Okay. I need to add some glue. I took that up and the glue had already dried. There we go. Now you've got, you can use whatever scraps you want. I just wanted to add some color, break up that pattern a little bit. set this in. Just like that. And again, 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch, thereabouts, off the edge. Kind of a patchwork quilt, if you will. Okay, so there is those two panels. Now the next panels that we're going to be playing with, your right side panel is going to measure 6 inches across, and you're going to score it at 1/2, and you're going to score this at 3/4 of an inch. We need a bigger gusset to absorb this one that we have here. And then when it's put in, it's going to look just like this. So to achieve that, we have to put this right on this 3/4 inch score line, and then just fold this over. Okay, and then the same with this side. Now this one's going to measure, it's a little bit bigger, that's 7 3/4 across, scoring it again at 1/2 inch, and scoring it again at 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to put this one on. Okay. Now, on this side, I used this 12 by 12 piece for both the left and the right side. And then when we put that, we'll put this on first, because then we're going to have a belly band. And that's going to flip over the front before we put the front piece in. So I'm going to have it go that way. Now, the belly band that I cut is 2 inches across. Now, the trick was trying to get the right length, so I cut it at 9.5 inch or 9 3/4 inches. My intent was to get a 1/2 inch on each side. Well, if I did that, this bowed. So I had to put this on, mark where I wanted to score it on this end, and then I came down here and I marked where I wanted to score it on this end so that I have a nice tight belly band, if that makes sense. It's the first time I've played with one, so if you've got a method that works for you, go for it. I made mine work, and it's going to be nice and tight. You know what? I can't do that yet. I'm sitting here thinking I'm missing a step. I've got to verify something before I do this. Hold on just a second. So this is going to go out. Okay. So I can go ahead and put this in. Now the glue's probably already dried. All right, now I'm going to tape in the belly band. Get this nice and centered as best as possible. There we go. So what I did then was I took some brown cardstock. I wanted there to be a little bit of an accent going on here, and then took a piece of scrap paper which matches this here, and then I'm going to put this on. I'm not sure if I want to put it on at an angle, but out of the chipboard pieces is a pair of scissors that I do want to put on here, and I'm going to offset it. So I don't want it. It will cover this one pair, but then you really don't know it's there. So if I just offset it a little bit, then you can see that it is on there. Okay, and then this in. And then I want to put this in here. I'm just going to put it down the center because I don't want it on the edges. I don't want it gluing the belly band shut. And then this, there we go. Now I'm going to take this little guy. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it is just raining cats and dogs. All right, there we go. And then we can put on this piece. Now, because of how large it is, I'm going to use some tape because the glue dries out fairly quickly. Then I'm going to put a piece, just a small piece, just to keep the pattern paper down on the cardstock so it's not doing a bubble up. Okay. And then always make sure that you're not laying on top of your score mark. All right, now on this side, I made another side pocket, and it will fit from this score line to this edge. So that's what you need to measure to. And I'm going to put it right here next to that score line and then come across. And then I liked the texture, some of the working parts on this piece, so that's what I took out of my scraps. You can certainly use any scrap piece that you prefer. And again, I've inked all my edges. Now, from the cut-aparts, I am taking a couple of teacups. I mounted them on that dark chocolate. It's called bitter chocolate. And I'm just going to kind of set them off over here. Just give us a little bit of a slant. And then this one here. Okay, so then that's done. Now we can go ahead and put, now this piece, the outer piece is the 12 by 12 of this sheet. And this is what's going to go on top. So the belly band's going to be on the top. It's going to lay just like this. And then this is going to come in here. And then I'm using this tag mounted on brown cardstock, and it's going to sit in there, and it's going to be a magnet closure. So I need to set this side before I put this piece down because I've got the magnet here. So let's get this taken care of. All right, so I want this here, and I'm going to tape this in place, so just in case I need to remove this for any reason. So that should just be right where the tape is. Look at that. I got that just nailed in there. Now we're going to take this off. And then I'm going to make sure that my top and bottom match up. My gusset ends are standing up in the straight, and then I'm going to apply pressure for the magnet give it a little slide and it should come right off. Okay, now I can put this piece on. And we'll do that using some tape. And then one down the middle just to keep the paper in place. Okay. Okay, now so then that closes. Now the only thing that I need to do is cut a piece that will sit right there. So if you will bear with me, I'm going to dig through my scraps and try and find fairly quickly an acceptable piece. No. How this would work, and it's the reverse to this. So it's going to be easier for me to do it this way. This might take a little bit of configuration on my part, so bear with me while I stumble through the trim on this. I didn't think about that before I got this far, so it's like, okay, now what? All right, so we're going to make an angle cut from there to there. I lost my, there it is. I lost my pencil mark. All right, hopefully this is going to work. Look at that. So the only thing I do want to do is dress it up a little bit. And then get some tape on here. Then we're going to start picking this off. too bad for spur of the moment. Okay, so let's take a stroll through and see what you've got here. So this is the front of our album, and I bet you're happy that I didn't do any fussy cutting with this. I was tempted, but I looked at this and went, nah, I'm not even going to attempt it. All right, so then here's your belly band. Then you have a pocket over here, and we just have some decorative pages here. You can do something different or leave it plain. That's entirely up to you. And then we have a couple of tucks with a big pocket, and then places for personal journaling or photos. Okay, so let's get the tape on the outside so we can get this in our album. I'm going to have to break into a new roll here. I hope I can get this done with what's left on this roll. Oh, perfect. And then we're going to add some extra strength by putting some strips here along the back. Okay. And let's go ahead and get this in here. So once again, I'm going to take my gusset end and I'm going to come right up to the end of this piece of cardstock and have about 1/4 of an inch left here on the end, which allows for it to roll over and not get smunched. So let's take these two off first, or at least that's what I'm doing. Come on. Make sure it's going in the right direction. And it's easier for me to do it this way because then I can see that I'm lining it up on the end and that the top and the bottom of the signature are spaced evenly from top to bottom. Burnish those in place. And then we're going to sneak in here and take this tape off. Now, I think I've mentioned this before in other videos if you have followed me, is that when I go to lay this piece down, I want to make sure that gusset is standing up straight and that it hasn't caved and that it hasn't folded over. And then I will be doing the same with this end as well. I will want to make sure that the gusset has not collapsed. I apologize that I have to lift this so I can see what I'm doing, but it's quite bulky, so I can't smunch it as well, move it around as much. Okay, so I want to make sure that this gusset is standing up straight when I apply pressure to put that in there. And then, all right, there is your third signature, and we'll see you when we get ready to do the last and final one. No, I'm sorry, we have 2 more. We have 4, and then we have the inside right panel. I'll see you then.